Addressing the release of his birth certificate, the president yesterday saying the media coverage of the so-called birther issue dominated the media and took away from the real issues Americans face. But a report from the Pew Project on Excellence in Journalism says that's really not quite accurate.
Fox's Mike Makowitz is joining us live now with more on that. Mike?
Well, I was there when the president made his address about his birth certificate, and he said that one of the reasons at least, that he decided to come out with this is because he was frustrated that when he announced his latest budget, he saw that it was being swamped in coverage of this birther issue. Now, I know that we gave significant coverage to the budget when it came out, and really not that much to the birther issue. So I decided to get an outside opinion, and I contacted Pew, and they cover the coverage. They measure the coverage of various news stories, and they said that, in fact, it wasn't the case. The week that he made that announcement, the budget was the dominant story, taking about a third of news coverage that week. The birther issue, however, was in the low single digits, usually wrapped into a story about the campaign, since it had been coming up in the middle of it. The following week, that changed a little bit. The birther story heated up, the budget cooled, but even then they say the budget story still took the largest share of the headlines.
All right. Thanks very much. That's Fox's Mike Makowitz, live from the White House this morning.
President Obama's trying to put to rest the questions about where he was born by releasing a detailed Hawaii birth certificate.
We do not have time for this kind of silliness. We got better stuff to do. I've got better stuff to do. We got big problems to solve, and I'm confident we can solve them, but we're going to have to focus on them. Not on this.
Needless to say, talk show hosts are having a field day with this one.
Indeed. KTRH talk show host Mark Levin is joining us with his take on the birther question. Mark, were you surprised that the president finally released his long-form birth certificate?
No, I don't think so. First of all, I don't celebrate this. The president did was very, very sleazy. To sit on his birth certificate all this time and people reacting to it and wondering what's wrong. And I've tried to warn conservatives from day one, stay away from this. This is nonsense. We're trying to save the country from a Marxist agenda, and being set up like this was fairly predictable. But that said, I don't care about it anymore. Instead, I want to get down deep into this budget stuff, into the oil issues, and into the other ways he's destroying this country.
Do you think that the release of it now is actually, in a sense, a way to move away from those issues, even though people talk about those are the issues that should be on the front burner?
That's a good question. I think he's doing this to try and paint a picture of conservatives and Republicans as foolish, as racist, as all these other things that the left likes to do. I've been involved in the conservative movement for 40 years. I smelled this thing coming, and just too many people were taken in by it. Now, maybe people will stop applauding Trump and sucking up to Trump. He's not the answer. He's not a conservative.
You have to wonder, though, why the rumors can't be quelled by this. There are still those who say, the ink is still wet. I mean, is it really going to go away?
There's people still trying to figure out the assassination conspiracy of John Kennedy. People can chase that for the rest of the time. People are welcome to believe whatever they want to believe. Just don't count me in. I've always wanted to put this aside. Now it's out of the way. Now let's focus on defeating this man so we can save this country.
Thanks, Mark. That's KTRH talk show host Mark Levin there, and you can listen to Mark Levin weeknights at 7 right here on KTRH.